Why did you bring us here?
Your family belongs here.
So, I have a few dishonorable mentions. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for clicking on my video.
Hello world! I'm Chris Maitini, aka Mr. FLIXTER! Mr. FLIXTER! Well. Hello world. This is Ursula. Just when you thought we were done with this crap, we bring you a double dose of defecation. I have not seen this much feces since last time BB Kitty used Letterboxd. Ho ho ho. And I must warn you. Spoilers ahead.
One of them that I want to mention is I Saw the TV Glow.
What if I really was someone else, very far away on the other side of a television screen?
Bear in mind, I struggle to call this a horror movie, but I'm still counting it. It was written and directed by Jane Schoenbrunn. Tries too hard to have a profound vision of the trans experience, but instead it just states an obvious message immediately, and then lectures you repeatedly by stating the same point again, and again, and again, and again, and again. It's very repetitious. It's very tedious. It just felt like I was being lectured the whole time. And it's so slow. My goodness, it's so slow. Oh, okay. We can do this. Subscribe for deep breaths. The cinematography is beautiful at times, but other times, it's dizzying to the point of being headache-inducing. I found it to be emotionally and psychologically draining, in a bad way. It's all about what happens when you put childish things away and are left with nothing, which is something I totally relate to. I grew up at a time when being nerdy wasn't cool, or a brand, or a genre to profit from. This meant negative connotations and bullying. Nerds today didn't have to suffer like I did. You don't know what it's really like to be a nerd. To be shunned for liking comic books. To be sneered at because you love sci-fi and think about it way too much. More than the average person, at least. To be scrutinized because you love horror movies. Or just being smart got you beat up. So that's one way that I could relate to the main character. But the most important way, as a bisexual, I appreciate the representation of my people, because there's just not enough movies that show what it's like to have the internal struggle of being closeted. Queer representation is so important, considering the inherent value that it gives the communities that it represents. The people need to be seen and heard, and they need people to relate to that feel this way. Well, I have no idea what it's like to be trans. I do know what it's like to be bisexual. So it's two ways that I relate to the main character. And I still couldn't connect with him. That's a problem. That's poor writing. I also grew up in the 90s. So I know what it's like to discover shows like The Pink Opaque. I grew up watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and Goosebumps, which that show was totally inspired by. I'm also a Canadian who grew up in America. So every day, I was reminded I was different. Over time, I became proud of being unique by embracing who I am. But doing that, it's so flippin' hard. That's why movies like this are important. The profundity of having that breakthrough, egg-cracking moment. It's astounding. More movies like this need to be made, but they need to be made better. So you can be more enthralled with the character and drawn in. I've heard a lot of praise for this movie, and I just don't get it, because I could barely sit through it. But hey, to each their own. I relate to the protagonist on multiple levels. And still, this movie left me feeling nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just bored. Kind of sleepy.
So, my official grade for I Saw the TV Glow is a small popcorn.
Sometimes the pink opaque feels more real than real life.
So, next up, Abigail. All I knew going in was that the little girl was a vampire because of the trailer and the poster. This look is fun at first, but there's too many questionable instances for me to find it enjoyable. Granted, I'm not a big fan of radio silence after they ran the Scream franchise into the ground. So far, I only like one of their films. They need a new idea. This flick is Ready or Not, but with a vampire. It's loosely based off Dracula's daughter. It's also similar to Don't Breathe. I'm curious how Fede Alvarez would have directed this script instead. My issue is halfway through, it becomes repetitive, derivative, and inferior versions of those films. The ending's anticlimactic. But worse than that, this is one of those times where the ending completely ruins the film.
Let's go kill us a fucking vampire.
It's so frustrating when writers don't follow the rules that they established. There's illogical subplots too. Why is Abigail a ballerina if it serves no purpose to the plot? There's a couple of moments where they use that for a character trait. But they could have been so much more creative with the ballerina kills. And they could have had so much more. Who wouldn't want to see a nutcracker kill? The conclusion extremely diminishes Abigail's character. I'm sorry, what was the name of Dan Stevens' character again? Does anybody remember? Because I don't. Who was this movie named after again? Oh, yeah. The writing choices are so bizarre that it all falls apart by the time the credits roll. So, that's how disappointed I was. And that's why you shouldn't give a vamp. And remember, if you're going to raise the stakes, make the killing blow count.
So, my official grade for Abigail is a small popcorn.
I'm sorry about what's gonna happen to you.
It's now a film critic extraordinaire. This is ridiculous. If you've made it this far, you must love torture and pain. Not because the moida, because these movies are torturous. And I'm enjoying your torture and pain.
So, next up, I want to talk about Smile 2.
I need to stop it, but I don't know how.
And here's why I was disappointed. For me, an adequate sequel ought to develop the tale that was previously established by extending the realm of possibility, by introducing fresh facets of intrigue. It should rectify the weaknesses of the first film, and, most importantly, offer me more of what I liked about the original, without becoming monotonous or derivative. Granted, Parker Finn directs it with more style, but that only goes so far when the writing isn't as strong, and this sequel fails in all those aspects. I mean, it's even got the same twist as the original, and as far as I'm concerned, it cheats. If there's a chunk of time where nothing actually happens in the movie, so what actually happens? And the acting wasn't that good either. Not as good as the original. But to be fair, Sosie Bacon had some big shoes to fill. The original Smile had social commentary on mental health crisis in America. The sequel touches on themes of the pressures of fame, coupled with drug addiction, with that on top of it. But it's got mixed messages, because it makes it feel like in both movies that help with mental health is hopeless, that there is no help. And that's not a good message. I wondered why the choice was made that the protagonist was a pop star until the final moments of the film, where it all makes sense. Did enjoy the cliffhanger conclusion, though. This has potential to be a major franchise because of the limitless possibilities of the concept. The biggest mistake that Smile 2 makes? And the first one too, actually. But they show the demon. No matter how scary you make your monster, it's never going to be as scary as somebody else's imagination. They could learn a thing or two from Steven Spielberg. He did the bait and switch method best with Jaws and Jurassic Park. You don't even see the creatures most of the movie, and they're terrifying.
You're messing up the scene! Sorry! We're never gonna work in Hollywood again! Let me do it over! Shut up! Keep rolling! You're making it worse!
Subscribe if you grew up a screw up.
It reminds me of Sinister, Talk to Me, Truth or Dare, and It Follows. So I'd only recommend this if you like those. But this is far inferior to that. This came out around the time of Halloween, but honestly, this flick feels more like a trick than it does a treat. So, my official grade for Smile 2 is medium popcorn.
I will not let this thing use me. How do we stop it?
The next dishonorable mention is the other Neon Picture flick. And trust me, this one flies well above its nest. In a bad way. But the other one's not on this list. Stay tuned to find out the placement on the other list.
That's a fucking weird way to put it!
I'm talking about Cuckoo.
I'm giving you the chance to be of great use in our quest for preservation. Consider yourself lucky.
Let's be clear. Kind of like I saw the TV Glow, I struggle to classify this as a horror movie. Even when the main character Gretchen finds herself relentlessly pursued by a hooded woman in sunglasses. Her irritating screeching noise fails to evoke fear. It just comes across as silly. I'm just getting started with the silliness. The way the story progresses, I was hoping for some body horror, or maybe some creature feature stuff. And it doesn't deliver either. As the film jarringly shifts gears, it unexpectedly turns into an action movie. With no adequate explanation or build-up. The middle is tedious and unfocused. Ultimately, it's just too silly to elicit any chills. The answers for remaining questions remain elusive. I'm all for being interpretive and letting the audience take things in their own way without being spoon-fed. But come on, you gotta give us a little bit. Nothing? Really?
Really? Really?
I mean, Dan Stevens' performance is so uneven. It oscillates between being malevolent or extremely absurd. Pick one. Because the way that it was done is distracting. When he brandishes a flute to summon the cuckoo creature, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. So, he's the Pied Piper now? The character development for Gretchen is confusing. After initially expressing hatred toward her sister, and saying that she's not her sister the whole movie, she suddenly decides to protect her, even though her sister is a totally different species. It doesn't make any sense. So, despite the unconventional ride the writer-director Tillman Senior crafts, it's overshadowed by how ridiculously silly this movie is. It's similar to The Island of Dr. Moreau,
Sphere,
and The Ghost in the Darkness. But again, far inferior to those films. So I'd only recommend this one to the cinephiles, who love experimental movies. In summary, I guess you could say I didn't go cuckoo for cuckoo. So, my official grade for cuckoo? It's small popcorn.
Haven't heard about you.
Why would you have heard about me?
So, the final dishonorable mention is Strange Darling.
How did I get so lucky tonight?
What drew me to the film initially was cinematographer Giovanni Ribisi, who delivers exceptional work, employing vibrant colors that enhance the visual appeal of the film, making it a striking experience for the eyes. But at the end of the day, there's no real resolution or character growth. At its core, it has a theme that's an indictment of a scornful man's perception of women. The implication of a moral, discouraging trust in women appears to reflect a broader narrative issue, particularly given the predominantly male film crew. Aside from that, there's too many head-scratching moments for me to enjoy this experience. The movie feels as if the director's attitude is, look how good of a filmmaker I am, instead of focusing on a concise story. The film even opens with a self-congratulatory declaration that it was shot on 35mm film, which I find a tad excessive. Okay, way too excessive. I'm all for it when 35mm film is used, but announcing it in big, bold letters at the start of your film feels pretentious. Because it comes across as patting yourself on the back. The choice to avoid naming characters raises questions about intentional ambiguity in the storytelling decisions, particularly since the major twist is revealed in the promotional materials. Why not just name your characters? Phenomenal acting and cinematography put aside, if you edited the film in chronological order, because it's told out of sequence, it's just another case of a mistaken identity formula with extremely sexist, unsettling undertones that are an egregious misrepresentation of the characterization of women. Additionally, while the film claims to be based off real events, it later contradicts this assertion in the credits by stating that the characters and events are fictitious. This inconsistency might confuse the audience. Why make that statement if it's not true? It's similar to the others, Identity and High Tension, so I'd recommend this if you like those. But the entire experience left a sour taste in my mouth, similar to biting into a lemon, except the lemon isn't as bitter.
Hated it.
The biggest question is, who hurt you, JT Molnar? Who hurt you?
So, my official grade for Strange Darling is an extra small popcorn.
Are you a serial killer?
What did you just say?
Well. If oo feels cursed, it's because this video was made extra special. Your threshold for pain is impressive. It's only taught by your willingness to be villainous. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Meow.
Did you know that I'm a film critic for HorrorBuzz.com? You can read my reviews on their website, and I make frequent appearances on their YouTube channel, HorrorBuzz Live. So I'll leave links below for that too.
fucking weird way to put it.